Alright, everybody, this is Stevie Breach coming to you with the WrestleMania rundown. We're still running through all these matches, still running through all these cards. Today, I was able to run out to Target. I did pick up those socks that I was talking about in an earlier video. So, as of right now, Stevie Breach is 100% ready to go for WrestleMania. We're going to be having tons of fun there. We've already talked about a few matches. Let's get right back into this. We're going to be talking about The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. WrestleMania 30, the streak is on the line. Of course, Undertaker coming into this after beating CM Punk last year at WrestleMania 29, 21-0. Who would have known that it would have come down to this? Of course, the only WrestleManias that Undertaker's missed is being WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 16. He missed 10 just to then just not wanting to just put an Undertaker match on the card with no build to it. WrestleMania 16, of course, he was injured. Came back a little bit later during that Undertaker versus, Triple H versus Rock Iron Man match coming out is basically the new Undertaker on a motorcycle coming down there, kicking some ass back in the day. But, who would have thought, that basically Undertaker would have made it to here, that he's still wrestling at WrestleMania 30 after debuting years and years ago. Of course, having the horrible match against Jimmy Snuka, which led to a match with Jake the Snake Roberts that just sort of trickled on down the line. Lucky for them that those guys became Hall of Famers, and it makes that streak look a little bit better than honestly it really was. Those early matches to me honestly really don't mean a whole lot of things. I understand that the streak means a lot to a lot of people, but to me, honestly, I've just never really been able to understand why Undertaker has this big thing in his gut that pulls up to make sure he never loses a WrestleMania match. But if he goes out there on a Extreme Rules or a No Mercy or a SummerSlam, it's basically, who gives a fuck? We'll just get the win at WrestleMania, and that's all it is. And I know that I sort of put that over in my last video about John Cena and Bray Wyatt, that the win has to be at Mania. It doesn't matter if Cena beats Bray Wyatt 1,000 times in a row after that. When we come around to next year and we're talking about WrestleMania 31, people are going to remember the WrestleMania win more than anything else. Taker and Lesnar, they have a history. They have a past. You go back to 2002. Brock Lesnar, he came into the WWE. He was, tearing shit up. I mean, he went right to the top of the card. Of course, SummerSlam, Rock versus Brock. Who doesn't remember that? Brock Lesnar becoming the youngest WWE champion of all time, beating The Rock there. And basically, The Rock had to go off to make a movie after that. So basically, Undertaker had to stand up for the WWE. He had to be that guy from the locker room to come up to Brock Lesnar and say, you know what? This is my yard. You might be the new dog on the block, but I'm going to whoop your ass. I'm going to take that title. He was the guy who was going to teach him to respect. In the long run, Undertaker was the one guy who really gave Brock Lesnar some credibility. At their first match at Unforgiven 2002, these two guys just brawled around. They did not like each other. They did not care for authority. Basically, the referee got caught up into the brawl. He called for a double disqualification, meaning that basically Lesnar won the match. He got to keep the championship, and these two got to live to fight another day at a Hell in a Cell at No Mercy 2002. We sat down before the Royal Rumble, me and my friends Zach and Luke, and we watched these matches, and these matches were fucking awesome. I don't care if these matches were, back in 2002, and here we are in 2014, 12 years later. If these guys have anything in the tank that they had on those two nights, this match is going to be fucking awesome. Of course, everybody can go back to that UFC match. I don't remember what number it was, but basically it was one of the ones where Lesnar lost the match, and Vince McMahon and Undertaker and Brock Lesnar sort of came together on how they could build some huge angle for WrestleMania 27. The only thing is that they didn't get Dana White's permission. And so they ran this huge angle where Undertaker got interviewed and Brock Lesnar came into the thing, and these two glittered at each other like they wanted to whoop each other's ass. Vince McMahon threw everything in the world at the UFC trying to let them use Brock Lesnar for one night. Brock, the one thing that matters to him more than anything is money. You got to give it to that guy. I mean, when it comes to money, that's all that matters in the world to him. It's just making more money because he knows that he can't do this forever. He wanted to go. I think honestly, if Brock knew that he was gonna have that match at 27, he knew that he was gonna lose, champion or not of USC. It just doesn't matter. And Dana White, who had the contract of Brock Lesnar at that time, had to hold on to his properties and make him look better. You got to think of, if Brock Lesnar right now was under, a WWE deal, I think it's in his deal that he could do it if he wanted to, but is Vince McMahon going to be that happy if Brock Lesnar puts himself into a UFC fight, walks into the ring, and gets knocked out in the first round? I don't care if UFC is real. You still need to protect your guys, and if you're going out there and they're losing, it's not looking good on the company. You can think of when Shawn Michaels, well, not even Shawn Michaels, not even that story, but you just think about the 80s, or maybe even the 70s. If you were a wrestler and you went into a bar and you were having yourself a good time and some guys came up and they wanted to start some mess, it's bad business for you to lose that fight. It doesn't matter if 15 of those guys jump you at once. You better be wrestling, you better be putting up a fight on those guys and whooping their ass, or you're making the whole wrestling business look bad because you're supposed to be the baddest motherfuckers on the planet. So that's basically why we had to wait so long to get this match. Now that it's coming down, I know that I'm going to be sitting in there and I'm going to be fucking fired up, man. I think I'm going to be throwing punches in there and I'm going to be having a good little time. But I don't have huge expectations for this fight. I think it's going to be what the Taker matches have been over the last few years. You're going to see some gimmicks. You're going to see the steel chairs. You're going to see the steel ring steps. You're going to see everything in the world. You're going to probably see Paul Heyman jumping in the ring at one point, taking some blows, maybe even taking a tombstone from Taker. I'd mark out for that. But I'm not really looking for the greatest wrestling match in the world. People were looking for, a huge brawl at SummerSlam between Triple H and Brock Lesnar, and ended up being a big, actual physical wrestling match. And people shit all over that. So I hope people know going into this that we're going to just see a flat-out brawl. Taker and Lesnar just standing in the ring and just boom, just straight up throwing punches at each other. Because that's what I'm going to thinking this is going to be. I'm going to be having tons of fun. Everybody knows that my opinion of Brock Lesnar isn't the greatest since joining WWE. If he would have came in and he would have had that one match with John Cena, I think that was huge. I think it drew in people from the past. It drew in people from UFC. It created a huge bunch of interest. But then going from there, Brock Lesnar's big angle in WWE is always has a match, and then he just says, I've done everything there is to do in WWE, and he quits. And then they just bring him back like nothing ever happened. Like they had the deal where Triple H called him out for years, and Triple H wanted to fight him. Ended up being that Lesnar broke his arm at the end of Extreme Rules, and that was supposed to be the end of it. And then all of a sudden he sits out for a good little while. It's time to come back for WrestleMania. And who's the guy who calls him up and brings him back? Triple H. Okay, I understand that Triple H is now a heel, and he has to do what's best for business. That motherfucker broke your arm twice. He broke Shawn Michaels' arm. Your best friend. Once. It didn't make any sense to me. It's just, I understand that you only have Brock Lesnar for a certain amount of days because you wanted to give him a shitload of money to bring him in. Now that he's here, they need to be creating better things for him. They should be, going off of the past, showing that, Taker in his prime couldn't beat Brock Lesnar. And here he is now. You can say it all. You can try to make Taker look like the best in the world. You can shave his head into 1,000 mohawks if you want to. He's almost done. If he's almost any other wrestler in the world, he would have been done. You think any other sort of like wrestling legend, you think like like they do it for The Rock because he's a big movie star, but you think Ted DiBiase, not number 2, but number 1, you think that he just gets to call up Vince and say, hey, I want to work WrestleMania? No, it doesn't work like that. I mean, it just, these guys get to work one day a year. I know the Taker really wanted to give a whole lot to the wrestling business this last year. I think, honestly, in my mind, he wanted to do this because I thought that he was thinking that this was going to be his last year. That's why he went over to the UK. He worked the match against The Shield. It was Taker, Kane, and Daniel Bryan. I think they wanted to build towards SummerSlam. I think he wanted to have a SummerSlam match. I think he wanted to sit out and rest. He wanted to come back for the WrestleMania to have the big, blow off. I don't know why 22-0 is that big of a significance. But honestly, I know the people really in their dream booking want to get Taker all the way till 32. Once you get to 32, it's 24-0. I mean, he's going to win 22, 24-0. And that's supposed to be some big significance. If you get him to 24, you might as well get him to 25 at 33. wherever the hell that's going to be. Toronto, Canada. I'll get the rumor started. Boise, Idaho. Throw your money in there for WrestleMania 33. I don't know, but like, I don't know. I've seen it all from Undertaker. He surprised me last year having an awesome match against CM Punk. I didn't think that the match was honestly going to be that great. The Taker matches with Triple H were some of the best matches I've ever seen live. The Taker matches against Triple H were some of the best in WWE WrestleMania history. So we'll have to see where we go from here. But, when it comes down to it, I can't disband my belief for this match. I don't think that Brock Lesnar is going to win this match. It's just a countdown to when Taker does it and how well this match can be to make me get into it. Because sitting right here, I don't know. I mean, like, they're going to beat the holy hell out of each other, and I'm sure I can get along and cheer for that. But some of the reasons that I've been watching, the Punk one, I didn't think Punk had a shot in the world, but watching that match, I kept on having that thought right here, like, well, they do need a star of tomorrow. And, if Punk as a heel right now beats Undertaker, he can do some pretty good shit for the next year as long as he's heel, saying that he's the guy who buried Undertaker. And maybe they could come back and do business next year where Taker will beat him, and then he gets to, sort of end his career getting that win back at WrestleMania. Or basically anything like that. I mean, like, I've already seen it all. Anything else from here on out is just freebies. So this is going to be a good one. It's going to be a barn burner. Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker. They're going to be duking it out. Boom! Everybody have fun. Get on to the next video.